We're back live tonight on In Focus. Voting processes have hit a snag in the city of Tshwane. This after the Independent Electoral Commission found that voting processes for the new speaker were compromised. This means voting will have to start afresh with new ballots. The position became vacant after COPE's Murunwa Makwarela resigned and became mayor. He subsequently quit as mayor days later after he allegedly provided fraudulent court documents about his insolvency status. Presiding officer in Tshwane City Manager Mpho confirmed that council sought legal advice before proceeding with the agenda. Right, let's speak now to the Regional Secretary of the South African Municipal Workers Union, Mpho Tladinyane. Paul, good to have you and thank you very much for your time. The city pretty much having no mayor and no speaker. Where does that leave the leadership of the metro?
No, thanks for having us. It's unfortunate that since the resignation of the former executive mayor, Councillor Randall Williams, on the 13th of February 2023, to date, it's almost now a full month, and the city is still without an executive mayor. West Part now, since the 28th of February, the city is without a speaker as we speak now. But we believe that the processes that have started this morning at 10 will assist in ensuring that indeed a speaker is elected by council, so that particular speaker can ensure that indeed the council meeting is convened for the election of the executive mayor of the city of Tshwane.
Yeah. How do you think we ended up in this embarrassing situation where people who are supposed to have done due diligence didn't do what they were supposed to do? So, for example, parties did not vet their members properly, whether they've got pending issues that could prevent them from being PR councillors. There was a speaker ostensibly who was there who, even before these processes, clearly did not qualify to be in that position. How do you explain that whole mess and what has actually happened here?
No, it's unfortunate and it's an embarrassment for all those who have been empowered with the responsibilities of ensuring that people are vetted before they are appointed as councillors. Various political parties have a responsibility to ensure that whoever is their candidate, whether as a ward councillor or as a PR councillor, their own political parties must ensure that indeed, one, those particular people have no criminal record. Secondly, the people have not been sequestrated. If such people have been sequestrated before, there should then be that certificate of rehabilitation. It is very clear now that the relevant political party did not do that particular exercise. But from the information that we have as Samwu is that the coalition partners were aware of this particular thing as early as November 2021. By the time that councillor, Dr. Makwarela, was appointed as a councillor, was elected as a councillor, and subsequently as a speaker, the coalition partners were aware of that particular situation. So it's unfortunate that political parties went with that particular exercise, and it's only now that after he was elected as an executive mayor that all those particular issues were now brought to the fore. But they have been aware all along since November 2021.
So that suggests then the fact that the dispensing of patronage, is not something that only happens within the ruling party, the ANC, but it is something that is even happening within the multi-party coalitions where a councillor who they know very well does not qualify to be there, but would be given that position purely for him to be able to sit there and do their bidding. And once he's no longer useful to them, then they are able to use that as leverage to get rid of him.
Yeah, no, you see that reflects the challenges and the problems related to coalitions or coalition governments, especially in local government, since we have seen such since 2016. Now, amongst things that we have observed with time with regard to how those particular relationship are structured and the challenges thereof, is that it becomes very difficult to manage conflicting interests. You will be aware as a coalition partner of a particular matter which has the potential to destabilize a coalition government. Given the fact that you want to sustain that particular coalition government, such will not be brought to the attention of the relevant authorities, and as such, by the time that you are no longer in good terms with that particular coalition partner, for example, or an individual, such will then be exposed, so as to tarnish the image and the integrity of that particular coalition partner. So it then indicates that issues of accountability are compromised in coalition governments, because the intention is one. The intention is to sustain the coalition government in the interest of those particular coalition partners. So that is actually a challenge that we have observed in the last months, whether it's in the city of Tshwane or in the city of Johannesburg, and it's also happening now in the city of Ekurhuleni.
What do you make of the proposed names for Speaker? I mean, that process, seemingly there was some irregularities as far as the voting processes are concerned. But there is, of course, a name suggested by the ANC and a name suggested by the Democratic Alliance. As municipal workers, do you have any particular preference to those names?
Now remember that we are not part of the legislature. We are not part of council. We simply part of the administration. And as to actually what happens in council, it's something that we don't have control over. We will not have preference because some of the people who have even been, or these councillors who have been nominated by their respective political parties are not even known to us. Remember that we have 217 councillors, and sometimes it becomes very difficult for us as employees to know all those particular councillors. So the two names that have been forwarded for contestation, we have not seen those particular councillors. But our interest is that we want to see a very stable city of Tshwane. So whoever will then be elected by councillors, we hope and trust that indeed that particular person will then work towards ensuring that there is stability in the city of Tshwane. Remember that amongst things that we're facing currently is that we have not approved the adjustment budget. So it was supposed to have been approved by the 28th of February, and that has not been done. So whoever then is elected as the speaker must ensure that within no time we ensure that we have an executive mayor who will then ensure that indeed we have an adjustment budget that is approved by council.
Yeah. Part of what you have, of course, been raising are issues around your dissatisfaction with Rendon Abrams as the mayor. But from the numbers and the coalition arrangements, it does look like at this particular point there is a push for a DA administration to once again be running the city of Tshwane. How do you feel about that?
No, we have been observing the developments and progress in council since 10 this particular morning. But from what from where we sit at, we cannot deduce whether it will go towards the left or towards the right in this case. The only unfortunate situation is that you see the voting process had started only to be disrupted by some unscrupulous, behaviors, and they then had to restart that particular voting process again. We will observe how things unfold in that particular council, and will then be able to indicate whether the processes were fair or not in terms of what we would have observed from afar.
Yeah. What would constitute a fair process for you? Because it does seem the multi-party coalition is wanting to work very closely with its councillors to avoid the embarrassment that they suffered previously in appointing the Speaker, where they thought they had the numbers, but it turned out the councillors wanted to vote differently to the multi-party coalition.
No, what we simply want to see, you know, when you're dealing with elections, the first thing that you would want to see happening is a free and fair election, so that those who have numbers to then be emerged, whether it will then be on the left or on the right, would want to see those who have numbers, who have worked in ensuring that indeed they have the majority on their side. Such people should then be able to emerge. We want to see a process that is free of intimidation. Remember that in the last 2 weeks, there's always been issues that some councillors have been intimidated. So we want to see a process where all councillors are able to exercise their rights in terms of voting without any fear or without any intimidation. So that is actually what we want to see. So that the outcome of this particular voting process should then be very credible and acceptable to all those who have participated in such.
Now, you've already mentioned this process has been going on now since 10 o'clock today. It's something that was expected to have been a matter that would have been resolved speedily, but it is not. The delays in the resolving of these matters and what that impact then becomes for the delivery of services. I mean, what is currently happening in the city of Tshwane?
Yeah, you see, the delay in ensuring that we have a speaker and executive mayor has negatively affected service delivery. Remember that since the 14th of February, we have never had the mayoral committee. There are certain decisions that are supposed to be processed by the mayoral committee before they are implemented by the city manager as an accounting officer. Equally, there are certain decisions that are supposed to be taken by council as a legislature, which will then have an impact in terms of how service delivery is supposed to unfold in various wards within the length and breadth of the city. So if such is not, it's delayed, for example, if decision making is slowed due to the current developments in both the executive and the legislature, such will thereful have a negative impact in terms of workers rendering services to the residents of the city of Tshwane. So we're just hopeful that from today, once we have the speaker and the speaker will then ensure that in the next 3 or 4 days, council is convened, we have the executive mayor, they then present the adjustment budget, they process whatever that is outstanding so that we can then be able to ensure that the well-deserved services are rendered to the residents of the city of Tshwane, who are paying their head money to ensure that indeed such is being provided to them.
All right, we saw just some live pictures there moments ago. We were live in council there in the city of Tshwane, where some of the councillors are just literally congregating in different sections and in different groups. No voting currently taking place as the process is going to be reinitiated again from scratch with new ballots. But it has been a long day of councillors being in that particular room. And it begs the question, Mpho, that this is all happening purely because people are interested in power and positions more than they are interested in actually resolving this and getting back to the service at hand. What confidence do you have that whatever administration comes out of this is actually more than prioritizing various positions that they would have negotiated in a multi-party or a government of local unity, whatever they want to call it, would be more important for them to deliver services than for them to occupy those positions? Yeah,
ours is just to hope, because we cannot guarantee that once we have a fully fledged coalition government, such particular government will then be able to ensure that indeed they will prioritize the provision of services. But we're hoping, as always, that both the speaker will be elected and the mayor who will be elected in the next few days will then be able to put together a team of mayoral committee members who will have the sole intention and interest in ensuring that the residents of the city of Tshwane are well taken care of. So we're hoping that particular process will then unfold. But we also know for a fact that coalition governments, there are also challenges with coalition governments. If for example one smaller party may decide to withdraw from a coalition, for example, that may also create another challenge. That in the next 2 or 3 months, you might have a motion of no confidence against either the speaker or the executive mayor, and you have to start from afresh. But we believe that once council has taken certain decisions, be it on the IDP, be it on the adjustment budget, the city manager in this case will then be properly mandated by council to ensure that indeed there is a rollout of services, because council would have approved both the adjustment budget and related matters, whether it's IDP and any other compliance-related decisions that are supposed to be taken by council.
Mpho Tladinyane, I appreciate your time. Thank you very much for coming on tonight and joining us here on In Focus, Regional Secretary of the South African Municipal Workers Union.